p.m., Ashford Town Offices. First item of business is to call a meeting to order. Get a motion to do that?
So moved.
Second, Catherine?
Second. We don't normally do that, do we?
Yeah, sure we
No.
do. All in favor?
Aye.
Members present, Catherine, Bill, and Ralph. Here from the public, is there anybody from the public to be heard? Seeing no one. First Selectman's briefing. I do want to say that we are prepared to open if we need to. We have plastic up in most of the offices downstairs, but we're going to stay as we are until it becomes necessary to open the doors. Tax collection have been going well. She's been getting, she's almost to where she normally is during the month. So, we can't really complain. There's been a lot of mail and she's doing a lot by phone. She's been changing her message almost on a daily basis. So I think that's real good.
I haven't heard any complaints.
No, and I don't think you have either. Have you, Bill?
Well, I wouldn't call them complaints. I'm getting a lot of inquiries of when the town hall is going to open again. I wouldn't say they're necessarily complaints. I noticed it's on the agenda, so maybe we'll can discuss it more there.
We're watching some of the other towns. And
Wellington is open, I guess, their town hall.
what's that?
Wellington is open.
Yeah, we have plastic now in all the downstairs offices. I think that's going to be okay. The issue is that the hall is very narrow on the town clerk side. And it's going to be an issue. We have made the windows outside of the doors very accessible, and we have buzzers out there. They can push a buzzer, and we can handle them. I think that's what we're going to do first, and we're going to deal with it as it comes.
And if I heard you correctly, Bill, you were asking about Wellington's offices being open, but I think they're designed differently, aren't they?
Oh, definitely. Have you ever been in them? They're antiquated.
Yes, it's an old factory is what it is. I don't see anybody, so I don't hear anything from any boards, commissions, and committees. Item number 6, acceptance of the minutes of the regular meeting of 6/15/2020.
So moved.
Is there a second? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Ralph, with regards to a couple of the things that were in there, at least one of them, have we heard anything? I know we authorized the expenditure of money to apply about the Cale Rock property. Is there any follow-up on that?
Christine, you want to answer that question?
They are still in the process of putting together the remediation report.
Yeah.
And we have plenty of time. We expect that the next brownfields, so far, the next brownfields grant round that we can apply for would be for a remediation grant. And supposedly that's going to open in September. The governor has signed the bill. I don't believe the bond commission has appropriated the money yet. I haven't looked at their last meeting, so I'm not sure.
So our vendor feels that we're going to have our application ready when and if it opens in September?
We should, yeah, because we'll have the remediation report in hand. So we'll have something to substantiate a request for money to remediate the property.
Okay. Okay, Ralph, thank you.
Okay, is there any old business that we have to deal with?
No.
Hearing none, we move on to new business. The first item is tax refunds.
Done?
And there are yeah. Item number B is act on the approval of the Demus authorization resolution. If you got the set of notes from Christine, that is something we have to do on a yearly basis, is past that.
It allows us to apply for Homeland Security funds.
It's authorizing resolution is Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection, Division of Emergency Management and Homeland Security. This has to be ratified by the Board of Selectmen every year to keep the grant eligible, the town eligible for any grant funding that may be available.
Right.
And is there a timeline on that, Ralph?
What do you mean by time limit? It lasts for a year.
No, that we have to apply for, or we have to meet that?
No, I mean, we have to pass this every year in order to put in for a grant during the year. We don't have anything right now that I'm aware of.
So this does nothing more than basically open the door for us to be able to submit grants.
That's
Grants.
correct. That's
Right.
right. Get a
I'll
motion.
move that motion, Ralph.
I'll second that.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, so passed. The next item would be the Ashford Volunteer Fire Department tax abatements. There are 17 members available for a total of $17,000. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
I haven't seen the list, but I'm assuming you have, Ralph?
Yeah.
And you're comfortable with it?
I'm fine.
So moved.
I'll second that.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
So passed. The 2020 STEEP grant application, we went back and forth with that today. And Christine, you want to bring us up to date?
I will do that.
What's that?
I will do that. We are eligible, every town is eligible to apply for one steep grant with a maximum dollar amount of 128,000 something. So we
Okay.
looked at a couple of projects that we have. We had, in 2014, we applied to redo the sidewalks and the curbing in Pompey Hollow Park, going from the senior housing to the senior center, and then around the loop. We didn't get that grant. That's the only application that we have that would fall within the amount of money guidelines. I did talk to Joey today. When I sent you the notes, we figured 100,000. He said up to 125. That way we have a cushion. And that falls within the limit that STEEP has set for an application. So what we're looking for is authorization to apply for a STEEP grant for the Pompey Hollow Park sidewalks and curbing, and that would be complete reconstruction. We also need, let me back up. In conformance with Executive Order 7S, the Board of Selectmen by majority vote and the Board of Finance can appropriate funds. STEEP grant requires that the funds be in place at the time of application. So what we would be looking for is the Board of Selectmen to vote to recommend to the Board of Finance an appropriation in the amount of $125,000 to enable us to apply for a STEEP grant to do the Pompey Hollow Park sidewalks and curbing.
Was this on the capital improvement plan?
No,
Small. Go ahead.
Can those funds be dedicated from the capital non-reoccurring?
no,
They can't?
Basically what Chris explained was, we don't have to go to a town meeting. There has been a process that allowed us to do that. We approve it, the Board of Finance approves it, and then we can send it on to the, actually, that becomes an application.
And that would be included in consideration in next year's budget?
This year's budget.
This year's
We
budget.
would apply for it next month.
right. It's a
Even-
reimbursable grant. There is some match required for basically engineering and planning. So we would have a local match with that, but Joey feels comfortable with the 125. He's already talked to a couple of contractors who do this. And And that's what we've come up with.
Can I ask about the local match? When you say a local match, you're saying for part of this
Yes.
or?
We can apply a local match for whatever we have to pay for engineering
Yes.
and project planning.
Okay, and that would be less than $20,000?
Oh, we have the engineer from NECOG is we pay him on a regular basis. He would do our engineering. It's not going to cost us anything for engineering.
Okay,
But we could, basically.
It would be the value of what he supplies us.
Right.
For a
So
local
His
match.
work.
I just don't recall a situation where we had a grant we were applying for that was large like this, clearly over $20,000, that we didn't have a town meeting. But
Well,
maybe my memory doesn't serve me well,
yes, and that's what I mentioned.
because we have to appropriate the money.
Right. There has been a method for us to do this. It's the Board of Selectmen and the
I heard
Board
what
of
you said.
Finance doing this in joint. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Right, it's
Yes,
executive
I do.
orders. Executive Order 7S allows a majority of the Board of Selectmen and a majority of the Board of Finance to make an appropriation in lieu of going to town meeting to make the appropriation.
Okay, thank you.
Did that make sense?
First of all,
I think so.
I'm gonna make the motion, and I think we need to cite that executive order in my motion. I don't know what the number of
I agree.
there's
Yeah.
so many executive orders out there right now, but I think we need to cite that and I'd appreciate it, Chris, if you could put that into my motion.
Yep.
It's Executive Orders 7S, Section 7.
Okay.
Correct, Chris?
Excellent.
If there's a second for that, though, I'd like to have a little more discussion.
I'm second.
Knowing that our friends from the Historical Society are going to be inquiring,
Mhm.
is this something that we could have considered putting in some renovations with the former Tremco building for?
We can only submit one application.
We all know we're going to be asked that question.
So it
Yes.
sounds like we can only submit one application, and
we're-
I would certainly prefer to have the sidewalks fixed.
And we're up against a timeline. We have to go to the Board of Finance and the Board of Finance. We have what, a half a day, Chris?
Board of Finance meets on August 13th. Applications are due at noon on the 14th.
So we got a week or a little over.
So we don't
Yeah,
have a lot of time.
I'm only asking that question because I know we're going to be asked that question.
Mhm.
And that came in today.
Okay. The grant. What
The
came-
question?
What came in today, Ralph?
The note I got from, the group from Joan Bowley.
Oh, it did?
Yes.
They don't miss a trick on this.
It
So.
came in after we were looking at what we're doing. We had basically finished what we were doing.
Okay.
Well,
And
I'd like a note to my motion indicate, at least what pushed me to do this is that we have an immediate life and safety concern because of trips and falls and the potential thereof over there. And frankly, that's why that would take precedent for me.
I
I agree.
I would agree with that. Are you still
Okay,
there, Bill?
I'll work that into the motion and into the application.
Bill
Very
went
good.
solid. I don't know if he's still with us. Bill?
I'm here.
Okay,
Yeah, he's here.
just checking.
No,
I can see him
everybody
just
was
fine.
frozen on this side. I don't know. Could you hear me? Because you guys all, Catherine, you're froze again, I think.
No, we're all set. You look like you froze up.
So did you. Everybody did.
Okay,
I actually lost the picture for Catherine and Chris there for a while.
No kidding. I haven't had anything go wrong.
Yeah. You two disappeared and Ralph froze.
Okay, so it sounds like we've got that motion basically laid out.
I'll just repeat my concern and what prompted me to make this motion, I'd like it shown in the record, is, and I don't know if you guys heard this part of it or not, is I believe there's life and safety concerns there
Yes.
based on the potential of trip and falls and liability exposure for the town and everybody involved over there. That's what gives me priority to go with the sidewalk situation.
You know,
Instead-
and in some sense, we can substantiate that because
Good.
probably on the average of 2 a year, we file a liability claim because somebody has either tripped on the curb or caught their foot on the sidewalk or whatever.
If I read your notes right, it also said we're going to try to address the handicap ramps to both the elderly housing and the senior center. The
I'm not
curbing.
entirely sure what Joey's going to have to write me a more detailed description for the application of what we're planning to renovate and do. But my impression is that all of the concrete will be ripped up. All of the curbing will be ripped up. The drainage in several places will be fixed. And, you know, it'll be rebuilt. You have to remember, it's what, 1992, Bill? 1993?
93,
So it's like 30 years old
yeah.
and it's
Don't remind
buckled
me.
and
And those ramps are basically part of the structure that's going to be
Well, I hope so.
attached to it.
You know where the senior center is, the curbing, where the buses drop off people?
Yep.
For a number of years, we were talking about fixing those curbs there for wheelchair accessibility, and the costs were somewhat prohibitive. So I'm hoping, Chris, when you get the scope of the work Joe comes up with, if you share it with the board, I'm sure we'd all like to take a look at it.
right. It's
We can
probably
try-
going to be after the fact. But
Well,
And
you
I think
mentioned
you're going to need that to go to the Board of Finance, though.
One of the things that we actually tried to do was the area in front of Knowlton Town Hall and that curbing. Number one is the cost was too high for the grant. And number two, they were two separate items and we had to do them separately. That's why we decided to go with just the issue at the senior housing.
well, and we can only submit one application.
That's right. We can only submit one application.
Yeah.
And from
Well,
what I
again,
understand,
what's prompted, I believe, I know my thoughts, and I would hope the board feels the same, is life and safety concerns that we have there.
I would agree.
Absolutely.
So can we get a motion to do that?
We already had the
we
motion
have a
and
motion and a
second.
second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
So passed. I think do you want to discuss strategy on reopening the town offices?
Yeah, I'd just like to have a brief, and I know your feeling on this, and I know we're not getting barraged with complaints. Although, like I said, usually if I'm up to the transfer station or I'm at a public area, I'm being asked, do I know when the town hall is going to open again? And I tell them that we have to a certain extent because we have those windows and you can do business over there. But do we have, or does it make any sense, like, to project a potential opening date?
I don't think so.
If it becomes necessary, we're ready to open downstairs. And I think, we've got all the plastic up in places now in the offices. But I don't see the need to open up because we have the issues with the windows and we're not having any problems.
So Bill, when you're asked this, is whoever's asking saying that they are not getting what they need from the town offices because of it not being open?
For instance, and I mentioned this to Ralph before, the two little sheds over the transfer station, I've been asked
Yeah.
about that. In fact,
But that's not town offices.
Well, the issue with the transfer station is if we open up the sheds, we actually have congregation and we don't want that
Yes.
to happen.
Right.
And we can't force everybody to wear a mask. We've dealt with our own employees. We've had issues with our own employees, and we've told them time and time again, if they're on the ground, they have to have a mask on. We can't make every townsperson wear a mask. If we're 6 feet apart, they don't have to wear a mask.
Isn't there an executive order now from the governor that's saying we do have to make wear a mask?
Well, not yet. I
They're
mean,
outside.
what's that?
They're outside.
They're outside, right. Now, tonight I've heard that they found out that outside is safer than being inside. So, you know,
That's a given.
And, you know, it is more so, but we can't force everybody to wear a mask. That's what I'm talking about. So I think as long as we can, we have not got a call or anybody said anything about opening those sheds. The only call I got about opening the shed was when somebody wanted to bring stuff down and put it in the shed.
And that's the premise of what I'm hearing about.
Now, if you
People
know,
that don't want to throw things
that's an
away.
issue, we can do it at a time the transfer station is not open, and I'll go down there and open the shed and they can put their stuff in there.
But no one's going to be able to go in and go around and take it out.
Right.
You may
When
be
all is
opening
said and done.
Pandora's box inviting that, Ralph.
What's that?
You may be opening Pandora's box by
Yeah,
offering to do
No,
that.
literally.
I understand, but you know, we're trying to help people where we can. And I think we've done the best job we can at it.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's been any complaints myself. You know,
No.
Chris hasn't gotten any. Chris answers the phone.
As far as the town hall is concerned, everybody seems to enjoy meeting outside in the open air and the heat and the humidity. They find it amusing to sit on the steps and bring in their pistol permits. So nobody's complained.
And
Kind
if
of like camping out.
if somebody wants to meet with me, I go out and we sit under the tree. One sits on each side of the tree. So, you know, we haven't had any issues at all.
Okay. I don't know. I've been personally just giving some thought if we could set some sort of a date, because I think people are concerned. I know my unit, we're still working on potential of a second wave of this thing. And if that's the case, things are going to be closed through the winter. And
Yes.
I think there's some people that are hopeful that that's not going to be the case. And frankly, none of us know what the hell it's going to be.
I don't know if either one of you have seen the television since today.
Yeah.
But I know, I saw it this morning and I saw it again this afternoon, that not Ashford, but a majority of the towns in Northeast Connecticut have shown a large number of teenagers that are
Right.
showing positive. And, you know, it's going to get worse.
Right.
It's going to get worse before it gets better. I don't know
I
how.
know I heard an article yesterday that on a national basis, there was some statistics out that the suicide rate among teenagers is in the highest it is since they've been recording that sort of thing, which is really frightening.
But, you know, I don't know what we're going to do, and we don't have any control over that. You know.
No, we don't have any control. We just can pray. Well, that's all I had to say. I mean, we obviously we'll be talking about this for a long time,
Yeah.
but I guess we don't have any alternative than to play it by ear.
You know, as far as I know, the OPM people, DEP people, Department of Agriculture, everybody's still working from home.
No, OPM is Lisa over there, the secretary of OPM, Melissa rather, has ordered everybody into work. OPM started that last week.
Did they? I talked to Martin Heff today and I got the impression he was
I haven't been there because my building, we've got maybe 10% going into my building, and that's over 700 people.
Mhm.
But OPM, I was told, was ordered back in by the secretary, I think it was last Friday.
We don't have any committee or commission appointments that you know of, do you, Chris?
Nope.
Okay. At this point, I'd like to go into executive session.
We have to add it.
Yeah, we have to add so what I'd say is we have to add an executive session to the meeting. One of the two of yous add it or make that motion.
I'll make that motion.
It's
Is
an
this
executive
litigation
session to
personnel?
discuss personnel.
And the other, you made it, Bill, and Catherine seconded it?
I made
Catherine
it.
made it. I'll second it, but I think we had to show it's to discuss a personnel matter.
Mhm.
Yes, it is a personnel matter.
Now, under that circumstance, hang on a second. We have, like Paul Vargas on, we've got John on. How do we handle that?
Okay, we're going to look for John Gostowski right now. John? Are you
Okay, so
It's gonna,
What I'm going to do is if the 3 selectmen and Christine are going to participate, I'm going to invite the 4 of you into a breakout room.
Okay,
And so you will get a little pop-up on your screen that says, I've invited you to a breakout room. You say, okay, or join the breakout room. And that'll take you to a different screen and you'll see the 4 of you again in just a second.
perfect. Sorry, Paul.
And then Paul can remain here and you'll join him after that.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. So you should see a little invitation so you can accept and go.
So click join.
Click join. Okay, and now, Paul, I'm going to pause the recording of this meeting and the folks will rejoin you in a little bit. Okay, the recording has been unpaused and you are recording again. Everyone is back.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to add an agenda item. And I don't know how to describe this. First selectman resignation is all I can think of for a name for it. I can't hear you.
Everyone, you're muted. Ralph, Bill, you're muted.
Am I back?
Yes, you are. Can you
All
hear
right,
me?
I'll come up with something and I'll send it to you tomorrow to look at and see if that's really what you want to say.
Okay,
For a motion, for an addition to the agenda.
very good.
Okay.
we lost Bill.
I'm here.
I can hear you and see you.
Okay. You're gonna make it.
So the motion was to remove, to accept, and we're going to fine tune the language, I assume,
Yeah.
Except with regret.
of the first selectman. I'll second, I regretfully will second that motion.
And I will make, I will announce that on the 17th of August, I will resign as first selectman.
At the
Of
close
course,
of
that
business.
becomes public information effective tonight, Ralph.
Yes,
Yeah.
I-
And
I will give my resignation to the town clerk in the morning.
I would just like to make sure that it's added how much we have appreciated the service that you have given to this town for so many years. And we will miss your leadership.
I appreciate that.
We're all a bit of a loss for words right now, but I certainly
Kind of in shock.
echo the same sentiment and appreciate your many years of service, Ralph. I know we've been working together off and on for over 25 years, so
Correct.
in one capacity or another.
That's
So
correct.
we wish you the best, and our prayers will be with you, and I'm sure everything will turn out just fine.
I appreciate that. Remarks for the good of the board? Motion
No,
for
this is a
adjournment?
sad day.
I'll move adjournment.
Second.
So moved. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.